God looks down from heaven, you realize that we are really paying for our sins.
Speak your truth and be heard on the Eagles Morning Rise, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eagles 102.3 FM, your radio experience you can count on.
The stage is set and the mood is right and the conversation is trending on here and right here. Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja it is. This is Eagles Outlook, where we talk politics and current affairs. My name is Uduak Daniel, and today's broadcast is brought to you on a day like this, the second day in the month of January of 2026. Once again, compliments of the season and a happy new year to you. Now, let's look deep into the conversation. We're looking into Reps Minority setting 2026 agenda for Tinubu right there. All right, so it's going to be a conversation. It's going to be quite conversational, you and I engaging in this discourse. I mean, it's Friday, yes, and Friday is a special edition, and by special edition, it does mean that each and every one of us should have time, something quality of a time to at least have our voices heard. And especially it is very crucial since it's been the very first week, right? We are still into the first week of the new year. As we set a course, set a trajectory for our lives, I guess the minority caucus of the House of Representatives, they're also setting an agenda for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration in 2026. They are telling him to focus more on insecurity. They're asking him to focus more on unemployment. They're saying, oh, please, it's high time you begun to destroy the very walls and strongholds of corruption. So the caucus is led by Rep member Kingsley Chinda, who emphasized the need for decisive action to address these challenges to promote national unity. Now, you should also recall that Nigeria has faced significant security challenges, and we are still facing them. Up until now, these security challenges went by several names: banditry, kidnapping, and all of that, insurgency. But you and I know that the truth behind the mask is that this is terrorism. And all of these have disrupted the economic activities. It has displaced thousands of communities, or hundreds of communities and thousands of people who don't even know how it feels like to live in their own home. And they've been put in internally displaced, they've been regarded as internally displaced persons, IDPs. Now, this is something that many, many years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, even though we had civil war, even though we had different clashes, different misunderstandings, I did not really think that there was a situation where an entire community will be displaced and they will grant them the name of an IDP. And then if you go visiting these IDPs, you will see that these IDPs are people who are seemingly hopeless. Where is the security that these people have? We've seen countless times in 2025 where IDPs have been raided again. So the question now is, where would my brothers and sisters who are Nigerians faced with that kind of situation, where would they run to? So I guess this is where the concern really comes with the Reps Minority Caucus talking to Mr. President, talking to the Tinubu administration now and saying something needs to be done and done fast. I will not still stop by reminding us what one of the National Assembly members had once said. I think it's also under the Reps. Can't put his name together now. But he made a call to Mr. President saying that, look, if the insecurity the way the insecurity is going, if the government does not take decisive moves to ameliorating, to win this war, this fight against terrorism, that the people will rise against the government and it will be chaotic. These are not my words. He said it. He said it. And it's proof. It's there. Did the federal government heed? No, it fell on deaf ears because we kept on seeing killings, terrorism acts in this country. It was about 3 months later, I think the U.S. now begun the campaign, or 2 months later, if I'm not mistaken. And now we are seeing some decisive moves. But would it be sustained is yet another thing. Similar cases, such as Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS countries, have shown that regional cooperation can help address shared security concerns. Because the Minority Caucus's agenda is aligning with the need for effective governance and accountability. Now, the Minority Caucus, comprising Reps Kingsley Chinda, Minority Leader, Rivers State, Ali Issa JC, Minority Whip, Adamawa State, Aliyu Madaki, Deputy Minority Leader, Kano State, and George Ozodinobi, Deputy Minority Whip, Anambra State, urged the federal government to tackle insecurity, unemployment, corruption in 2026. I mean, they're emphasizing the importance of peaceful coexistence. They are emphasizing and aligning themselves with the goodwill message of Mr. President and every other well-meaning Nigerians in high places, talking about national unity. They're talking about more collaboration. Now, let me give you or paint you a picture of a young Nigerian entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, is struggling to access loans, and as a result of insecurity and economic instability. Now, this exemplifies the human impact of all of these challenges. Now, we are awaiting the government's response to determine the country's future and prosperity. Is the future there? Is there a future? Maybe there is. Because if I were to go by what the late Chinua Achebe said, there was a country in his book. What he just tells me is that at the present, we are like IDPs, internally displaced persons, presently. Now, if we are internally displaced persons, according to, or deducing from the late Chinua Achebe's book, There Was a Country, is there a future? But yes, we are told to ride on hope, and I want to also believe in hope. Hope against all hopes. And believe that this bleak future that is still sustained by a strand of hope will indeed come to pass. But then again, it also brings to mind certain questions that are of top priority, that must be answered. What specific policies do you think that the Tinubu administration should implement to achieving its economic goals in 2026? I mean, it's a new year. Akpabio has given us the pace. He has become like John in the wilderness. The pace setter said, I'm forgiving everybody that have offended me. All the lawsuits, all the cases I have with several persons, I'm dropping it all. I've been touched. So when will these leaders, when will we as Nigerians as well be touched? Because we need a touch. And if you ask me, I say this is the best time to be touched. The beginning of the year. The Fabio is setting the pace, is a pace to now. I mean, imagine you're running a small market stalling, you want to move or make more money, there are certain things you do. You make sure you have enough goods to sell. That's you invest in agriculture and manufacturing. You improve the road to your store so that more people can come and buy. That's fixed roads and infrastructure. This is the agenda, right? Make your prices competitive so people want to buy from you. That's more like controlling inflation. And then you give offering of training to your staff so they can sell better. That's more like investing in education and skills training. Easy peasy, right? Now, some policies could include encouraging farmers to produce more food so that we don't have to import as much, making it easy for goods to get to the market. I mean, I really try to understand what is so big and huge about fixing our roads. Look at what happened, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Look at what happened with the Lokoja axis, where people were stranded. Imagine, I'm not saying that I'm a prophet of doom. A bomb was detonated there. What would have happened? We'll blame it on negligence. We'll talk about it's the terrorists that happened when we could have fixed the roads. What is the Kogi State governor himself doing? If they say it's a federal road, what is the federal government doing? Is it eye service in Abuja as we're seeing it? How many other states can boast of the good roads? And then yet we expect the farmers to be able to go to the farms and get us the produce that will sustain us. What is going on in Benue State? Food basket, is it still the food basket of the nation? It's laughable. We should be able to give loans or training to small businesses so they can grow. Are we doing that? Is it getting to the small businesses? Or it is the political businessmen who are indeed benefiting from these loans? There is a need to also make it easy for us to pay tax. So people can pay tax, businesses can also pay taxes without having to break their bank or break their savings. How can the government also ensure that the benefits of economic reforms reach all Nigerians? Especially particularly where the government always talks about the vulnerable people, the poorest of the poor. How can these benefits of economic reforms, which Mr. President up until today is still talking about how this reforms is helping us? And the Nigerians are saying, okay, reform is helping us by the paper, by the book, but is it really trickling down to our lives, the quality of our lives? Is it? So you just imagine that you're sharing a big bowl of soup with your friends, right? You want to make sure everyone gets a fair share, especially those who are hungry or can't cook for themselves. So one of the things you might want to do in that instance is give direct support to those who need it the most, like cash transfers to poor families. Okay, they say they do that. But I've not heard any of you family members who have received such. Probably we're not the poorest families. But I dare say, I don't think there's any average family more. You're rich or you are poor. Poverty might have grade, but you are poor. Am I rich? No, I am poor. Make sure that everyone has a chance to benefit from the new jobs or businesses. Are there even new jobs? Are the new businesses given the right to thrive? The conducive environment? I mean, think about it. You want to be an entrepreneur January 2026? And the entrepreneur that you wear or some of your friends wear in 2025 or 2024 or 2023, let's look at this environment. How conducive was it? Compare these years. Are they the same? Is the business climate the same? Is it allowing for fair opportunity? And then you need to explain clearly how money is being spent and what it's achieving. And that brings to us the place of transparency. For example, now, help the poor kids or children get food and education. Teach people skills to get better jobs. Make sure everyone can see a doctor when needed. I recall that the last time that Mr. President gave a charge to the judges when they had a judges conference, where he spoke to them and said, make sure that justice is affordable to everyone, even the poor. Make sure that you are transparent. Make sure there's no favoritism. Maybe, Mr. President, you should actually attend health conferences too. And probably tell the doctors and tell the hospital, the government, the private, and everyone, make sure that protection of life and property is sacrosanct. But I'm not just giving you these orders. I'm also saying that this is what I'm giving to you to cushion this, to allow for you to be able to initiate this call from me, this appeal from me. Yes, what I'm sending to giving to you, hospitals, the medical sector. Whether you're private, whether you're public, I don't want to know. This is my aid, my assistance to you. Because where there's no motivation, how do you even expect work? And then fix that sector. Fix it too. So that we don't have to have our politicians going out as far as India to die. Because they don't trust the health sector right here. They don't trust it. Nobody trusts it. In fact, if you were to ask an average Nigerian, given the choice or the chance to get treated in the UK, US, India, China, and to get treated here, everybody will say, I want to go there. So gone are the days when we had the strong youth. We had teaching hospitals that they could come at par. At least in Africa, we were a name. Now, I don't think so. Now we are still a name though, but we are mostly known as those who would japa to other countries to become doctors and nurses and caregivers. That's what we are known for now. No wonder London is flooded with us, the UK. And so each of these countries now beginning to bring laws that will limit us. And yet we still have the big names in the political scene who are unperturbed whatsoever about this development. Still telling the government what we could do and can do and must do in 2026. Because there are questions the family members are asking, the Nigerians are asking alike. Has the government been able to tell us how they will address unemployment just yet? Have they really told us how they will stimulate economic growth just yet? Just imagine you're planting a tree. For you to plant a tree, one of the things you want to do is prepare the soil, plant the seeds, water the tree, or water the seed into becoming a tree. So you have to create a good environment for business to grow. I mean, so that's the more reason you must fix infrastructure. You must reduce the bureaucracy, the bottlenecks, who are still companions of yours. They're within power. They are your political allies. Your politicians. Then trickled it down to the civil society. They are the big names in the managerial positions. The bottlenecks. Haven't you seen a situation where someone's salary or someone got to discover after 5 years of working for an organization that her salary as an health personnel was actually $250, but they are paid $120? And then as a sign after 5 years, trying to let you know you have tried, they now increase it to $150. But when she discovered that, wait, 250,000 is salary. So where are the other parts of the money is going to? How do you take such a case up? Fight government, fight the institution, fight corruption as an individual, take it to the judiciary. The mechanism that supports your case is costlier when you think about it. What you'll have to pay, adjourn. There's always adjournment here and there, and these judges do it on purpose. Because a case that should have been settled in 3 months, they drag it. And we want to get it rightly, yet we're setting, the Rep Minority Caucus is setting agenda for Mr. President. That's what we're really talking about, though. But how can we talk about it and not look into all of these? Because they mentioned the health care. How do you even plant the seed? Still giving you that illustration. One of the things is you support the small businesses and entrepreneurs and not allow the big ones swallow up the small ones. So are we giving kudos to Mr. President with a new tax law that is already in practice? It's very potent now. So if you're a small business entrepreneur, in a year you don't get up to 50 million naira at the end of a year, okay, you'll not be taxed. But you get above it, oh, you start getting taxed. Is that the support? And many have queried this tax, new tax, saying, well, as much as you say it's for the good intent of the people, in terms of timing and in terms of priority, is that really what we need? I remember and I recall Selassie saying, where are the jobs that you've created so that you'll be able to tax me? Then I will also be able to pay the tax. Where are the infrastructures? Where are the industries? You've not created jobs, no industries, no jobs. And you talk about taxing me? Or put in a new tax reform, you're saying it's for my good? No, why not put on a new pathway towards developmental growth of the country and say, I'll create more jobs. And I'm starting from the local government. Go and verify. Go and see it. Now, you're not just saying go and see it. You put it on social media and tell the community people, this job that I'm creating here, this industry, this company that's going to be building, the blocks and everything, is under your care. Monitor it. Report to a credible lead. And we will come there and see for ourselves. Keep these people on their toes, because this thing is for you. Now, we even held community town hall meetings to ask the people, what exactly do you want? Oh, I hear a lot of pipe-borne water, boreholes that will be built in billions of naira in the budget, and I laughed. Street lights in billions of naira, and I'm laughing. You talk about roads in billions of naira, and I'm really laughing. Please ask those who are building estates how much it costs to tar the roads in their estates by kilometer. Maybe then you'll understand what injustice we have been going through and are still going through. So yeah, there it is. There has to be incentives for growth, tax breaks or subsidies. Train young people for jobs in growing sectors. Support the local industries so that Nigerian businesses can compete with imports. Well, I'll go pay some bills. When I do come back, of course, I get to hear from you loudly and clearly. as we go conversational. I really want to hear from you. I mean, the Reps Minority Caucus setting an agenda for Mr. President. Mr. President on the one side and a goodwill message, as well as reassuring Nigerians and saying that, oh, the reforms are indeed yielding interest, and in 2026 we will see it. Contrasting, contradictory, but then it's laced with the message of hope, especially. We'll be right back.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The general public is hereby advised to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Verify the licensing status of such schemes on these websites: www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng, www.fsrcc.gov.ng. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, SEC 0209-462-1168, 0916-772-3240. Announcer, FSRCC.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. It is Eagles Outlook for a Friday special edition. And yeah, so I mentioned earlier it's going to be conversational. So let's begin to hear from you already. What do you think about this? I mean, Reps Minority Caucus setting 2026 agenda for Mr. President right there. And what do you think? What aspects do you think Nigeria should really focus on to get it rightly this time? I know that the insecurity still is one that we are beginning to take serious measures against. But then again, does it mean that the measures are appropriate? They're perfect enough? Are they very yielding the kind of gains that we want to see already, or should there more be done? I mean, forest guards have been deployed already, 7,000 of them are trained, and they'll be deployed to about 7 states, right? Kebbi, Niger State, Plateau State, Kwara State, I believe, and all of that. How far will all of these efforts go? And then in terms of again, the economy, are the reforms indeed helping through? Are they really yielding the gains? Is it trickling down to you and I? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, UG.
Yes, please.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for the wonderful job you are doing.
Appreciate.
I welcome you to 2026.
That's right, taking me.
Taking the window from Nasarawa State.
Awesome, talk to me.
Yes, I want to start by saying that Rep Caucus, they have a strong voice. And if they speak, anybody can listen to them. It's not like some of us here, when we talk, it's as if our thought is just going in this side and going on the other side. Having said that, the issue of forest guards, some of us were wondering, when did they recruit those people? Where did they get them from? Was an advert made for people to be recruited? And who was responsible for recruiting them? It's like the whole thing was just done in a secrecy. So some of us don't even understand. Maybe you should help us and asking those questions. Yeah. Or if you know, you can answer them to us, you do. Because an advert was not being made. Where did they get them from? Who is responsible for recruiting them? And all of that.
Right.
But I'm urging them to go and be patriotic, to go and do their best. I know they will be giving some weapons. They do not use those weapons to commit crime, because there are some officers that have weapons that use them to commit crime. Another thing is that you mentioned your IDP camp. It's unfortunate that our people are now in IDP camp in their own countries. But I must tell you, people are benefiting from those IDPs. There are some people that don't ever want IDP camps to go away because they are making millions from it. See, we even have a house arrest member who went to Lema and asked for relief materials. And when it was released to him, he was being supervised, but he was not aware. So he took those, items given to him, and he wanted to go and hide them until the governor was informed. And that was when they went and picked those items. So you see, people are benefiting, making millions from what our people are going through. And it's a new year, and we are calling on them to repent. And I think our security agencies have spoken up, and we're encouraging them to maintain the fire, to maintain what they are doing currently, because those criminals, like I said, if the child that said the mother will not sleep, the mother must not allow the child to sleep too. Thank you.
All right, Turk be right there. Thank you. Far too kind for your thoughts. Well, you can keep the calls coming through too, and let's also hear your thoughts. This agenda set by the Reps Minority Caucus to Mr. President or to the Tinubu administration and all of that, is this a way to go? Is this really the answer? Or do you think that there are some priority concerns and areas that must be addressed and tackled and looked into if we must get it rightly in this country, especially this 2026 that we've just entered right there? 0907 353 0044 or 0908 766 8888. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What is my name?
All righty. And now let's go see some questions that Turkenby asked. Now, Turkenby asked some salient questions in terms of the fight against insecurity. He asked these questions. I remember we looked into this matter a few days ago, well, into last year, that is. And the questions that arose were was there any advertisement for recruitment? What were the criteria for selection? When did they undergo training and all of that? How were the personnel were they elected? Was it an election? Was it a selection? Was it an appointment? We really can't tell, because all of this information, it came to me too as a surprise. The only time that we ever mentioned issues about Forest Guard was when Mr. President had said he has given his voice and assent to it, and that it should kick off. But all these processes was not told. However, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, assured that these forest guards will operate under the Office of National Security Advisor, and that there will be operational coordination by the Department of State Services, that is the DSS, as well as the National Park Service. So that's the most that we know. But I just want to, as a hunch, believe that these forest guards were actually, that they were indeed selected from these states: Kwara, Taraba, Plateau, Sokoto, and about 2 other states, or 3 other states, Niger, right? I want to believe that they were indeed selected from these, because the idea is that they will have knowledge of the terrain. So it's not going to be new to them. But be that as it may, there were expectations that at least make this thing public now. Make it public. Or tell us your criteria. When you make it public, you set the criteria that you must live within the community. Not just come from there. You live there. And that's part of the issues that we keep talking about: governance and transparency and accountability. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, I'm Chimeze,
Yeah.
calling from Gwagwalada.
Chimeze, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Your topic is wonderful. Going straight to the point, you're
Yeah.
asking what the government should do
Yes.
to improve. Let them stop telling lies. Let them stop unnecessary propaganda, and let them stop borrowing. Tell Nigerians what they are doing with the money they have borrowed. There's corruption everywhere. Unequal corruption. There is intimidation. And there's no project they have commenced and ended. I keep telling people, point out to even 50 kilometers of road that this government has started and completed and commissioned. Not patch this in here, what we experienced here in Abuja. The money they have spent on lies and propaganda can build 3 top mainland bridges across Nigeria. You talk of corruption. Whom do you have? Yaya Bello wants to come back as a senator in Nigeria. Present governor of Imo State has a corruption case, and yet he was made a governor. By the judiciary, you are asking to be the last hope of common man. It's only Nigeria, I stand to be corrected, that you hear a judge or panel of judges entertain a case or a matter, and after they will be bold enough to tell you that they reserve judgment. Only in Nigeria, you reserve judgment, you carry a matter, you entertain a case for 10, 15 years. Time, it is not done anywhere. That is why most of them cannot boldly travel outside the shores of this country. No money is accounted for. We think of a plugging, leaking point in corruption. Who told you to plug it? In Nigeria, how does a commissioner have access to $2.8 million? I mean, does the money fly? CBN activities are shrouded in mystery. They are telling us that the money is doing this and doing that. How much do they use to shore up the dollar? How much have they spent? Are they coming up here? The CBN governor was alleged to be paying a certain Ms. Balong 50 million naira monthly. Did anything go on that? If you interrogate the matter, you are threatened, clamped into detention or otherwise. Okay, in Nigeria of today, the present minister, or the so-called coordinating of the economy, was bold to tell us you spent 300 billion naira to the poor. For 4 or 5 months, we have been asking Mr. Wale to bring out the list. Bring out this list. Let us know the people that received that money. Nothing has come up. In Nigeria, talking of Lagos Calabar Coastal Way, 15 trillion naira that did not pass through National Assembly. To our chagrin, the federal government has gone to secure a loan of $1.2 billion for the same road. 2023, 2024, 2025 budgets has not yet been implemented. You are borrowing another money, 20 trillion naira, to support a budget that is never implemented. And you expect people to have confidence? We are talking about FDI, foreign direct investment in Nigeria. My brother, show me one company, apart from the ones they have used our money to go and buy and bring in some few technicians in Nigeria that has come here as foreign direct investment. Do you invest where there is no security? Our president was bold enough to introduce a certain LS. He claimed was his neighbor in Chicago University or University of Chicago. Today, where are those tractors? We don't suffer from amnesia. A country that is not rulership, that is based, that are telling lies, cannot be expected to do good. So point out to any foreign direct investment in Nigeria. Lastly, we have a minister of power in the person of Adelabu. This is sourcing for loans to become governor of his state when Nigeria is in utmost darkness. And you tell me that the country will go? Popo Sodema has the case that was not finalized. He became a governor. Governor of Enugu State has case of NYSC forgery. The matter was just done anyhow. That is not how to run a country. It bleeds the heart. Hospitals are not working. This is our field.
Right.
Nothing is working in the country. You go, you prescribe drugs for a patient, the patient start crying because he or she doesn't have money. May God save us because he has done that. It's now left for Nigerians to fight and sustain their fight and get this info in the country.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, Chimezie, right there. Okay, so much to be said and so much eye-opening right there. And yes, it just boils down to the same thing that we keep saying every now and then. You come aboard, and then with all of these challenges that we face, we talk about peaceful coexistence and national unity. So who is fooling who exactly? Who is fooling who? That we are a big family doesn't mean we will not disagree. We will disagree. We don't have to always agree. But we must work together because we care about each other. And that's why there is a need for dialogue. There's a need for fairness, making sure that everyone feels represented and heard. There's a need to have shared goals, focusing on common goals like security, prosperity, growth, capacity building. How many community programs have we had now? Where are the projects in our communities that bring different communities together? One of such is good roads. One of such is proper lighting or power. One of such is inclusive government to make sure that all regions and all the groups are well represented in government. What about when we address how we manage our finances? Addressing the corruption in itself in it. It's more like you're managing your personal budget. You need to track the expenses. You need to prioritize your spending. You need to be transparent. You need to cut down on cost of governance. We keep saying it. But it's falling on deaf ears. Now, they act like they don't hear it, like they don't know. Since the Buhari administration, we've been talking, cut down on expenses, cut down on governance, cut down on... Is Mr. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, is he listening? Well, he is, I know. Is Tajuddin Abbas feigning lack of awareness? Is Mr. President acting like he's not aware? Because these were the same people who would run campaigns back in the day, talking about how expensive we have become. The convoys, the envoys, and all of that. The allowances, too much. Oh, now we're in power now. What are we doing? But yet, the average Nigerian is told, cut down on the food, the cost of your living. Cut down on your expenses. Just cut down. Tighten your belt. And then have patience and hope with us. Endure. I'm not trying to paint the government in a certain way. I'm just telling you the reality, whether you like it or not. But it's fact. Budget transparency, Chimeze Mejo already mentioned it. There are budgets that have not even been implemented, but we already have a 2026 budget. The 2025 budget is projected to terminate in March of this year. Well, it is part of an effort to ensure that the budget cycle indeed follow its due course. But if the 2026 budget begins in March or April, will all that has been put in the budget be implemented so that it doesn't cross into 2027? Or is this another guise of stashing monies for the electioneering year? I hope not. There is a need to strengthen bodies that investigate corruption and remove signs that suggest witch hunts for trust, transparency, and accountability to thrive. And that's just the truth. So is the reps minority caucus waking up to the reality of the Nigerian experience? According to Reps Kingsley Chinda, he said the situation of our country, particularly in 2025, was worrisome and fearful. Ali Issa is saying, we urge the federal government to ingeniously address infrastructure deficits, youth unemployment, and brazen corruption. Brazen, you know what that means. It means this corruption has gone beyond. It's right in front of you. And yet you can't do nothing. Aliyu Madaki, who's a deputy minority leader, says Nigeria is a blessed nation and enormous potential, but our diversity remains one of our greatest assets. George Ozodinobi is saying we call on leaders at all levels to commit themselves wholeheartedly and truthfully towards achieving meaningful and realistic development. And then Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, a former Minister of Transportation, now with the ADC, saying Nigerians must demand responsive and accountable leadership for a national turning point in 2026. Now that 2026 has come and is here. Samuel from Kuje is saying, greetings, my brother, Obong Udwak Daniel. Good morning. Of a truth, I have lost confidence in the people in authority in this country. The same people that are setting agenda will be the same people that the president and his people will be cornered with some incentives and shut them up. Any agenda that will not flush out the terrorists and their sponsors is of no use to the masses. Any agenda that will not make things easy for the masses is of no importance to us. They should have the willpower to do the needful and stop the lies and propaganda. Thanks and have a great day, he says. Thank you, Samuel. So I'm hoping that this one is coming from the reps now. Samuel, let's just keep our fingers crossed this time and expect the best, because it's the least that we can do. And of course, take action as the citizens. By action, I'm not saying take cutlasses, machetes, or go get guns and all. No, that's not it. There is something even bigger than an atomic bomb, and you and I have it. We can have it. It's right there at our disposal. They may make it hard for you to get it, but still strive to get it, because it's your right, it's your PVC. Because you are the game changer this 2027. I mean, look at the political climate. Look at the moves. I'm sure if the wise men from the good books, Bible days, were to be alive and they looked into the Nigeria sky, they can actually tell you what the moves are. But I mean, even the blind in this country, even the blind can see what these moves really mean. So if Nigerians are saying we are losing trust in the system, and even in a system that institutionalized the systems, can we also lose trust in ourselves, being the last resort? Because I dare say to you now, you and I, with our PVCs, we are the last resort for the common man. You and I were the last resort. If we also fail ourselves at the poll, then we have failed utterly, irredeemably. Quote me, no hope of rising up again. So what is most essential? The Minority Caucus's agenda for 2026, having critically looked into it, is emphasizing the need for effective governance. It's talking about security and economic growth, basically. And that's what Nigerians are expecting. We're expecting tangible reforms and accountability, as well as transparency in the execution of government.